Morning, everyone. So yeah, today we'll start with a quick presentation on reporting. How can we extract data out of Skore? And then we have like an open mic. Okay, so I'm in a workspace. So this is our Skore demos workspace that I use all the time. And I'm gonna open a process and we'll have a look at how we can extract data for analysis or reporting outside of Skore. So I'm gonna use this P2P procure to pay process that we have in our demos material. And so right here I have a process typically with Y box describing why, what box describing what and who, and we have also different layers, different diagrams, drill down, and I can navigate back up. So here we are in Skore, we are capturing semi-structured data. So processes are not always very structured in organization. In Skore, we help putting a structure around it, having the what boxes, the Y boxes, the roles in a much structured way. So this is a visual view of a diagram. So this is very visual, we like it. But sometimes we also agree that we need to have a more tabular, a more grid-like view of a process that simplifies analytics, or that allows me to do other things with my process rather than reading the different boxes and the layout on the screen. So at the top of my bar, I have a reporting tool here, and I have a couple of reports. I will run through that. So the first one loading. So this is the first default report, which is the work activities. So this one is about one line of report will be a box on the diagram. All right. So, and I have a lot of information showing up already. I have my box text. I have a box type, depth, and all these things I can click on the headers to do some sort of sorting. So by alphabetical order or reverse alphabetical order, by the depth. If you want to have all the top level box first, you can sort by depth first. So I have all these boxes coming. The reports are very often with a scroll to the left, which is not, scroll to the right, which is not always visible because the scroll bar is at the bottom. What I use is you can, if you have a tip of the day, IT tip of the day, if you have a scroll wheel mouse, you can usually press the shift key and it will scroll horizontally. So if your scroll wheel naturally scrolls vertically, if you do shift scroll, it scrolls horizontally, which allows you to see like all the hidden columns to the right. You don't always need all the columns, or they sometimes don't make sense. So in the top left corner, there's a menu called Customize Reports. And it allows me to select which columns do I want to show or not. And some of these columns are purely here for when you have this report in Excel, so that you can do some sort of analytics and VLOOKUP and cross-reference and stuff. So for example, we have all these parent IDs column. It doesn't make sense if you're just looking at the report to find some data, but it can make sense if you are actually looking at extracting the data, having some sort of VLOOKUP or something of formulas, or if you're creating some sort of pivot table in Skore as well, it sort of pre-populates the data set in the right way. So there's quite a lot of columns available, and we are adding columns fairly often from the feedback of users. So yeah, we do add columns very regularly to that. So on the left, I can also filter the kind of boxes I want. So what boxes, Y boxes, and groups. So by default, it will be what box and notes selected. I can add my Y boxes now. It will make an even longer report. So there's two ways of finding data in these things. So I know that some users, they are going straight into saving as an Excel file, and they do further analytics in Excel. This is something you can do. I'm just going to show you today what we can do in Skore. So there's a search here at the top left, top right corner. There's a search that allows me to search for a given word, and it searches in all the columns. What you need to be careful of is, because it searches in all the columns, and in here I have quite a lot showing up, sometimes it will appear like it doesn't filter anything. So if you are searching for something that is specifically the box text, what I usually do first is I'm removing all the other columns that I may not need, because actually they may get search results that I don't want. So I'm creating a much simpler report, and then the global search here at the top is working better because I probably need to search again. Yeah, so now I have all my P2P, it's filtered, and it tells you at the bottom, tells you how do you filter. So the other thing we find at the bottom, and that will move to the top, Stuart. You raise this issue. Is true that sometimes it can get very long and you have to scroll all the way down to find these search things. You can filter by columns. So I'm gonna clear the one I have at the top, and this is the problem that we have is that we need to scroll at the moment to the bottom. And let's say I want to search specifically in this thing. So I'm typing vendor, and now I have only my 15 results with the keyword vendor specifically in the box text. So global search is on the top right corner, and specific column search is on the bottom. It will move to the top as soon as we fix some sort of UI glitches that we have. Yeah, so the search columns. So the other type of reports. So here it's the work activities. So that means one line of reporting per boxes, which is probably where you want to go first. Then there's a bit more to the right. And if you have some modules enabled, you will even see more. So I have the role reports. So the roles or responsibilities reports. This one is one line of reports per role assigned to a box. So if a box has 2 roles assigned to it, it will create 2 lines. It will create 2 lines in my report. And this one is very good. So actually, I didn't show you that, but you can reorder the column. Sometimes it makes sense to have role names on the left. You can, let's take this one. Okay, so now I can see all the boxes. So I have my box ID again, shift scroll to scroll a bit to the right. Let's take the box text here. So now I can see all the boxes where a given role is involved. So if you are doing much more specifically analytics, or you want to get insights around the roles, or you want to generate a role descriptions from a report or something like that, this is the reports you're looking at. Would you use RACI? I think I have another, I closed it, but we'll show you another example where we have the RACI tags, so the responsibility matrix that some of you are using. It will also give you, all right, this role on this activity has an R, an A, a C, an I, and it gives you a very good picture of a role. So the RACI is always interesting, I find, when you need to understand what is the involvement of this role. If a role has a lot of accountability, the A stands for accountability, you probably want a role that is very good at communication with other team. If this role has a lot of responsibility, which is about doing the work, someone much more hands-on. So it gives you a very good picture of the qualities you're looking when you're recruiting or defining a given role. Another thing I've seen here, yeah, we are using the role manager to capture systems as well. So we have CRM and SAP. It's captured as a role because it's a very, very convenient way to do. So they will also show up in these reports. So I can see all the activities where my AP system my AP system is involved. So also can be very interesting if you're doing some extraction. You have, let's say, a legacy system. You want to get all the activities that would need to change if you are phasing out this legacy system. There's obviously a lot more analytics for this kind of scenarios in roles and analytics tabs. And again, for this report, I know sometimes it doesn't show that there's it doesn't really obvious that there's some columns to the right, but if you try scrolling to the right, you will see more columns. And again, in the customized report, you may have even more columns that may suit your needs. Yeah, I see here we talk a lot about customers and suppliers. So this is to generate some sort of Cyborg report. Customers are the roles of the activity after the current box, and suppliers are the roles of the activities before that, so the what box before that. So this is a way to generate a high-level CPOC. We could talk about CPOC, so supplier input, process, the activity in the middle, output, and customers. So we could talk about CPOC quite a lot, but I find that CPOC only work very well for high-level diagrams. When you start doing the CPOC at a very granular process, it stops making sense. So this is my take on CPOC. It works for very high level, sort of end-to-end kind of level of details. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense, or it starts to be very, very repetitive, and the value is very marginal. So roles, one line per assigned role. Then we have attachments, so one line of report per attachment. So if a given box has several attachments, they will all create one line, and they have like a little unique ID. Unique ID is just based on the order in which the reports, the attachments is attached. And then again, I have my text of the attachments. This is where the custom fields are coming as well. We are looking at creating dedicated reports for custom fields also. We are evaluating that. But today, this is where the custom fields are coming up. So here I have a couple of risks. And again, if I click on the header, it will group by these names. So I have all my control, if they are manual or automated, my attachment type. Again, attachment type is useful when you export to Excel. You can just filter by attachment type, or as I demoed earlier, we could just search here custom, and it would just show the custom fields. As a matter of fact, there's no other attachments in this process at the moment. And again, scrolling to horizontally will show me even more information. What's the box text, quite relevant, and what are the roles that are involved in this with these attachments. And then we have a couple of more. So if you have the quantify module in your workspace, this is where, which we don't use in this process apparently. This is where you will have a lot of the data as well. So the quantify module already does a lot of calculation and a lot of simulation for you. But if you want to have fun, you can basically extract all the data yourself and replay all the analytics manually in Excel. I know some people have done it because their business case or their scenario wasn't matching what Skore was offering. Questionnaires, answers, and comments. I don't think there's anything in this process at the moment. All right, so I wanted to keep this presentation fairly high level. Is there any questions, any things we should deep dive into, any challenges you had with reports that we can talk through?